Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. As always, it's your boy Dave Neal, stand-up comedian, host of the SAP podcast, and we have been churning out some content for you guys, Bachelorette style. Thank you all so much to everyone who joined me last night for the live stream. We had 1,300 viewers, over 100 at a time. People came and went for a 2-hour post-show after the rose ceremony, live stream edition. And I appreciate all of you guys who called in from Australia and Florida and New York and Canada. I mean, y'all really stepped up the game. It was awesome talking to you guys and hearing your opinions on the show. I'm going to get right into my recap. If you're new to me, hello, good to see you. What I like to do is I take notes, I read them back to you, no cuts, no edits, just me and you, and we hit a couple Harrisons together. You guys down for that? Can we get consent on that issue, guys? We're about ready to hit Harrisons. All right, let's get into it. So we start with the part 2 of the finale. Ben showed up an hour before the rose ceremony, looking all good, got a fresh sleep. She's all like, oh, geez, what's going to, you know what I mean? Like, I just got rid of you, you're coming back. And then she goes, I'm not going to lie, I've missed you. So she played her card. She said, hey, I missed you. You know, obviously she breaks up with these guys, but she's not stone cold. She's a nice lady. So she wasn't over him yet, so she didn't know what to do with him. Then Tayshia said every quote that every woman ever says when she's in duress. She goes, I'm not going to lie, I already have enough on my plate. Do you know how many times I've heard my lady go, I'm not going to lie, I've already got enough on my plate. I don't need to deal with you right now, okay? He shows up looking all good. He's got tall calf muscles. He's got more abs than you can count. And she's like, you know what there? You know, Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, I've got enough on my plate. Figuratively speaking, she's already dressed, ready to go. Everything's tucked in, prim and proper. She's, put together. She can't move. And then he wants to kiss you? Come on. And then he was leaving, and she said, you know what? I'll invite you to the rose ceremony. It's the least I can do in this producer-orchestrated nonsense. And then Ben gave her that clarity we were all looking for, and she was into it. She was into his clarity. Let me just put it that way. She went in for the kiss, or he went in for the kiss. I don't really know who initiated the kiss. There was a lot of, like, that look before you strike. You know, it was like Jurassic Park where you got the little velociraptors just looking at you before they strike. That's what Ben was looking at her, trying to get a little bit of that nookie. Tayshia said, I just kissed him. Why would I do that? Well, love's a hell of a drug there, Tayshia, and so is lust, and you got to figure out which one it is for you. She's literally right on her way to the rose ceremony. Okay, so then poor Ivan, he walks up like the chump that he is. He's got final 2 confidence. You know that confidence when you know it's down to the final 2 guys? You start walking with like a limp for no reason. You're just walking into that rose ceremony thinking you got it all. You're waving to the cast and the crew. What's up, Chris? How you doing, sound guy? Hey, my crafty lady. What's going on? Group therapist. Everyone's, and then all of a sudden everyone knows what you don't know. Boy, that's why we watch this show. It's a train wreck. It's like Final Destination. You guys ever watch that movie Final Destination? It's like everyone's going to crash and burn. You just don't know in which order. And that's what it was like watching Ivan. We just knew it wasn't going to work out. It's like, look, no one starts their love story in an Airstream. I'm sorry. The irony of the Airstream, which no one else has mentioned, is that Tayshia's ex-husband and her, they bought an Airstream together, and then he said in his interview with Reality Steve that the last time he heard from Tayshia was actually when her lawyer contacted him because they still had a loan together on that Airstream, even though they were divorced. So he was like, you know what? I just paid off the Airstream and I'm going to sell it. So my thought is, did Josh Borrell, Tayshia's ex, sell his Airstream, or did he just give it to Ivan to use for the night? Airstreams are very expensive, folks. No one had mentioned the irony there that they bought an Airstream together. And that's what couples do. Couples buy Airstreams together. They think they're going to fix them up. And then, one day someone's like, well, why didn't you buff it up yet? And it's like, because I watched a YouTube tutorial. It was 3 hours long and I don't have the right tools. And if you're wondering if my fiance Tasha and I thought about buying an Airstream, all quarantine, okay? But then you need a truck to carry it, a place to park it. It's a whole issue, folks. Who's using the pooper? What happens? I digress. So yeah, this is why we watch this show, because we know someone's about to get heartbroken. Ben's so passive with how he breaks the news to the guys. The guys are all there, all dressed up, and then Ben shows up, and they look at him like he's not even a human, right? They sixth sense him like he's a ghost. Spoiler alert on the ghost. Bruce Willis, he was a ghost all along. And you talk about seeing dead people. Look into Ben's eyes. Come on, folks. Stick with it. None of this is written. So yeah, I don't know. He shows up and he goes, Tayshia invited me to the rose ceremony. It's like, bro, you showed up to her apartment. She didn't just call you up and say, hey, breaker, get on down here to the rose ceremony. You're the cat's meow. No, he didn't. That's not what happened. But he's like, yeah, Tayshia invited me. Yeah, when you begged to come back and you showed her your clarity all night long with those clavicles and those low-cut shirts, which, by the way, if you got a body like that, you get to wear whatever you want. Them's the rules. What did you guys think? Was it good that Ben showed up? Leave a comment. Let me know. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You guys have been great all year. I don't have to tell you twice, but I will again at the end. So anyway, Tayshia put the rose down. She's about to start the rose ceremony. She's got these 3 chumps there. She puts the rose down and she says, Ivan, can we talk quickly? And then he looks at me and goes, what's that? She's like, Ivan, can we have a conversation? Huh? No, you're just going to give me the rose and we're going to continue to live out our Airstream dreams. And she's like, we got to go talk. So she goes to talk to Ivan and the other guy's like, is this good? Is this bad? It's like, bro, it's bad. It's never good, okay? Ivan's so kind, though. He's kind. He's getting broken up with, but he's still being kind to her. He's softening the blow. You ever have that happen where, like, she's dumping him. She doesn't even say the word. She's like, Ivan. And he's like, I get it. I'll pack my bags. I understand. She's like, yeah, I mean, you should have realized when I didn't even do an over-the-pan hand job in the Airstream that things weren't going well. He's like, I know you're not really that into stars. We just decided to watch up and do astrophotography all night. I get it. The great conjunction was, when 2 stars line up. And it wasn't Ivan and Tayshia, I'll tell you that much. Oh, Tayshia's a star, though. She's looking glowing, isn't she? Ivan, by the way, has there ever been a quicker rise to fame? This is a Cinderella story for Tayshia. 1 second, she's on the B team, just hanging out at a suite. Next thing you know, they call her into the game. She strikes out the side. She did a great job this year. One of the best bachelorettes of all time. Ivan is he's just handling it way too matter-of-factually. But I guess that's the engineer in him, right? He goes, this is going to sting for a while. Yeah, tell your face. You know what I mean? Between Ivan and Ben, they really could be good poker players. I'm heartbroken. I've never felt so bad in my life. I might cry. It's like, is the Botox talking or what? Tayshia chooses Ben and Zac, and boy, have the tides turned. Ben coming in from the ropes. I mean, out of nowhere. Now they got to meet Tayshia's family. Ben comes in and he just drops that he went to West Point. That's how you make a good first impression with the dad. Look, I didn't go to West Point, but if I did, I'd let everybody know. I'd show up with the college shirt. I'd have the hat on, a diploma, like just graduate. Hi, I went to West Point. Hi, nice to meet you. Oh, you want me to go with your daughter? Well, I went to the most prestigious military school in one of the greatest nations in the history of the world. How are you today? We're heating up, folks. Warming it on up. Ben, yeah, he's like a pro wrestler. You think he's done, and from the top he comes in, and he's on the ground, and they're like 1, 2, oh my gosh! Is that where they put the shoulder up and the game's not over? Whatever. Okay, folks. Ben, he's just like Weekend at Bernie's. They're just like carrying him along as he's still barely alive. Zac's turn. Look, Zac, and everything I write down is how I felt in the moment. So in hindsight, we know this is, things ended positively. But Ben, Zac's turn. So Zac shows up. He should be nervous. Ben's got all the momentum. Ben showed up out of nowhere. He finally showed his emotions. He was one of the early leaders. Da-da-da-da-da. Tayshia's dad tells her, look, there's no rush. Tayshia's dad, typical dad, nice guy's like, look, you don't have to do this. Tayshia's dad's like, look, it's okay if you don't get engaged in a desert after 14 days. That's fine too. And she's like, Dad, stop. Come on. This is the process. Trust it. I just need more clarity. He's like, didn't you get clarity the last 3 nights? Okay. Clarity is my code word for, when we're hitting Harrison's. If you're hitting Harrison's, you're getting clarity. And let me tell you something. If you're hitting Harrison's and you're not getting clarity, you ain't hitting the Harrison hard enough. All right. T-shirts are going to be on sale pretty soon if you want to hit Harrison's. Come on, join me. Lauren Zima knows what I'm talking about. She's bumping Harry. Does the Harrison match the carpet? Moving on, folks. What does it mean? Who knows? Hashtag hitting Harrison's. If you had to hit dislike because of hitting Harrison's, bye. Don't need ya. We're over here having a party. You're not invited unless you're Ben and you just show up. Moving on. By the way, someone had commented on the live stream that they miss when I used to read notes. Because this is the first season I typed out my notes, and they missed when I read them because if a joke bombed, I would lick my finger and move the page. So I can't do that anymore, but it's so much better to type. So this was one of those moving on moments. All right. Feeling good. Tayshia's mom's grilling Zac. She goes, where do you see yourself and Tayshia in 5 years? It's like, what is this? An employment line? What's happening? She's like, what's your biggest weakness? And he's like, my biggest weakness is I'm really good at hitting Harrison's, and I don't want to, tire out your daughter too often. Oh, have some respect, Dave. Zac crushed it, both in the fantasy suite and on the family date. He really knows how to pound out some victories, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they're eating a slice of cheese pizza. They're doing good. Zach, by the way, does anyone want a fantasy suite? This is my new chocolate company. I'm selling fantasy suites for after you hang out in the fantasy suite, you can enjoy a fantasy suite. All right, I try. Moving along. Folks, we're heating up. Zac walks away from their date. They have their date together. He walks away, but he keeps looking back at her. You know what I mean? And I didn't know if they were going to break up. I was completely unspoiled. So that walk away from their date, he's looking at her like, I think I'm going to be engaged to you next time I see you, but you could be breaking up with me at the same time. It was one of those like unsure moments. But Zac's got that confidence. He really does. I mean, Zac's got swag, confidence. He's out punting his coverage. And let me know what you think about this. But in other seasons, Zac could have very easily been sent home on night one. And this is a note for all the ladies out there. Give confident guys like Zac a chance, because this dude knows something no one else knows. And I don't know what that is, but he's got some confidence. He's got swag. He's got that Garden State, New Jersey energy. He's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. By the way, watch Tayshia's Instagram story. It's so funny. Yeah, I forget how it goes, but she was like playing around with him, you know, now that they've revealed it. And she goes, how did I even end up with you? And he's like, because you said yes. And it was the most Jersey thing ever. How did I end up with you? Because you said yes, honey. That's how I got down and proposed. And she said it was a rhetorical question. He's like, but you still said yes. I slapped a ring on the finger. Yeah, sure. Neil Lane paid for it, but I digress. All right, Tayshia gets a knock on the door. She goes, oh, my God, because every time she gets on the knock on the door, it's always a past contestant that starts with the letter B shows up. It's always Ben or Brendan or Bennett. Anyway, it's Daddy. Daddy shows up. She goes, Daddy. Oh, Daddy, you know. And then Papa Tayshia doesn't want her to get hurt again. It's always tough when parents chime in, because it's like, all right, Dad, I get it, but come on. I got to play the game. I got to get Instagram verified. I gained 200,000 followers in one night. I think I'm doing okay. The dad says, I don't want you to be making the biggest mistake of your life. No pressure. Thanks so much. Clearly, that was orchestrated by Chris Harrison. You know that the dad's over there hitting Harrison's. You saw the look in Tayshia's mom's eyes. Zac and Tayshia getting clarity all these years, just getting clarity. Oh boy, I could use some clarity at this moment right now. Zac and Tayshia go on a date ballroom dancing. She's looking for something wrong with him. She's like, I don't know. Everything's perfect. I'm just like looking for flaws. So to me, I thought that she was looking for a reason to dump him, but couldn't find it. But again, I think this was all producer driven and orchestrated, because I think all along she knew it was going to be Zac, and they kind of have to not play their cards. You know what I mean? Or not show your hand. I don't play poker. Bennett does. I think she doesn't want to pick him, but has no real reason why. She said, cheers to a man that makes me feel safe, heard, special, that has been through hell and back, only to be the best man that I could love. So cheers to you, Zac. And at that moment, I was like, Zac just sealed the deal. No wonder he's so confident. She's already saying she loves him and this and that. Then Zac said, I think that she believes in me. And that was a real special moment. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. She believes in him. He recognizes it on his 9 years of sobriety. That's a pretty cool moment for Zac. I mean, the guy's come a long way. And while that could be a red flag, sometimes you need to take someone's past. And I read this the other day. Your past isn't a life sentence. It's just a learning opportunity. So don't hold on to everything in your past. Use it to become a better version of who you are today. Right, folks? That sounds good to me. She then said she loves him again, so it's not a fluke. It wasn't just a one-time thing when she was getting clarity. She wasn't just pounding some clarity into the situation. No, she hit the Harrison, and she still loved him. That says a lot. If you love someone before Fantasy Suite, you want to hear that love after, because sometimes it's like, I love you, then Fantasy Suite, and you're like, well, I thought I did, but didn't love you enough, or didn't love you long enough. Love is short. Love is fleeting. Love takes time. Love takes more than 2 minutes. Minutemen, moving on. Ben's last date. We're killing it. We're going to end this strong. We're going to dismount. Tens from the Russian judges. Here we go. Ben's last date with Tayshia. Ben said, my gut tells me I'm going to propose to her and she's going to say yes. Well, you better get your gut checked on. You better get some probiotics for that gut, because something's off. Tayshia walks in and dumps him right away. But what if you got the date before Zac? That's what I was wondering. What if you got the first date? Would she just dump him then, or would she ride it out? No pun intended. Clarity and see what happens. Or special things are happening right now, folks. We're really kicking it up with this nice Costa Rican coffee I got here. Ben says to her, she's dumping him, right? Ben says to her, when you love somebody, you want them to be happy. Wow. It just became Owen Wilson. Wow. No, that's a great line. When you love someone, you want them to be happy. Of course, that's great. Hopefully this was a learning experience for him and he can move on. I still think he struggles to show his emotions, but give the guy a shot. He's trying the best he can. And this is an important message for all of us during the holidays when we talk to family. You got to remember everybody's trying the best they can with the information that they have. That's the best. We all disagree on certain things, but we're trying our best. Let's have empathy for others. Treat everyone like they're our brothers, and maybe they'll treat us back with that same love. So I appreciate that from you guys in the comment section. Everybody has treated me with so much respect, love, and gratitude that I cannot tell you enough how much I'm thankful for you guys out there. I've said this from the first season I started doing recaps. If people didn't show up to the comment section, I would have never kept doing them. Because you guys have shown me so much love, we're now doing live streams, more recaps, more just random content, and I appreciate you guys so much for helping me grow into that. Thank you. Speaking about growing into things, who wants a fantasy suite? It's the stupidest pun. I'm selling fantasy suites and Hitting Harrison t-shirts. Hitting Harrison also is doesn't that sound like just a movie that Tom Green would have starred in the late 90s? Tom Green and Hitting Harrison coming up next. It's a road trip so I guess Zac's the guy. I guess that's it. Neil Lane shows up, the old leathery football Neil Lane. Always a good sign, unless your name's Brendan. Always a good sign. Is it Brendan or Brandon? Yusuf? I'm going to forget these people. As soon as I hit record over, when this recap ends, I just forget everybody's name and I move on with my life. It's going to be fantastic. They go to the pre-proposal. Tayshia's in tears. My Tasha. Tayshia's in tears. They have an open flame in the desert. Never a good idea. Very nice set design, though. They worked with what they had. They had scraps of palm trees. If you guys didn't know, those palm trees are not indigenous to Southern California. Do you know what the ones I'm talking about? They've got the big palms up here, but I have all these palm fronds that don't fall down. That was imported. That's not supposed to be here in Southern California. And the reason that those palm fronds don't fall down is because we don't have the right indigenous life forms that would come up there and scrape them down, like different tree climbing animals. That might be true. That's what I heard, at least. I don't know. Okay, so Zac shows up to the proposal and he starts clapping. He's like, haha, Harrison, what's happening? And I'm like, dude, this guy's confident. He just has that confidence. He's like, I'm either about to get dumped or about to meet the love of my life. Let's see what happens. All right. Confidence won this thing for Zac. It's what won it for him. And by the way, my fiance had the funniest line because the final two guys were Ben and Zac, and she was like, "Well, and my fiance was like, I guess Tayshia really likes guys with a big forehead." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. She loves a guy who can just project a movie onto his forehead. Hey, that's all right. We all big foreheads is a sign of intelligence, right? You just got that pinky in the brain thing happening. What are we doing tonight, brain?" Same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world. But where can we find a tattoo parlor this time of night? Zeke's brain. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Animaniacs. Go check it out. Oh boy, the guy Zac. He's been all over the place. He's seen everything. He has context that gives him supreme gratitude to be living this life. He has hit his rock bottom and he has risen from the ashes and he's a better man for it. And if we can't look up to men like Zac, then what are we doing on this earth? Deconstruct what he did to find his happiness. Find a way to do it yourself and get out there and live every day like it's your last. I sound like one of those like motivational posters you'd see in a girl's sorority room. Live every day like it's your last. It's like, all right, Samantha, you just did Lines of Ecstasy and you banged a guy on the lacrosse team. You need to slow down, living every day like it's your last. You know what's not, at the last? Chlamydia, Samantha. And that's all I got. That's what I got. So thank you guys so much for checking me out. If you want more content and you're like, oh my gosh, Dave, this was amazing, but I need more, go check out my vlogs. I'm doing Vlogmas, which is a vlog every day in December leading up to Christmas. So I've got 23 straight days of Vlogmas. I'm losing my mind. I'm having a good time. I appreciate everyone who stuck around for that. The podcast is the SAP. And I cannot tell you guys how excited I am for Matt James season, which is starting in 13 days or 12 days. So I'll be recapping that. I will be doing West Coast live streams after the episodes at 10 p.m. So I'm going to be doing live streams and recaps. The more you guys participate, the more content I can give back to you. So without further ado, I really thank you guys so much for being a part of this recap season, and I will see you very shortly. Bye, everyone.